I just found 17 absolutely absurd mistakes in SpongeBob that you probably missed. No, seriously, there are moments that defy all logic. And I swear, mistake number 17 is so ridiculous that it makes you wonder if someone got fired for it. Let's start with one of the most bizarre moments in the entire series. Do you remember that episode where Pearl, Mr. Krabs' daughter, has an emotional breakdown over the school dance? She cries so much that she floods the entire Krusty Krab. But the real mystery isn't the flood of tears, it's the restaurant's customers. If you pause the scene, they're all the same fish. Same color, same face, same clothes. Is Bikini Bottom hiding a cloning machine? A true copy and paste army? And speaking of clones, does Tom ring a bell? Yeah, the guy who screams chocolate. Well, he seems to have the power to be in several places at once. In one episode, while SpongeBob is struggling with his bad breath, Patrick takes him to the movies. If you look closely at the audience, there are two Toms, one in the second row and another in the fourth. But it doesn't stop there. In another shot, 5 Toms appear, quintuplets, or just plain laziness when it comes to drawing more characters. Another blatant mistake happens on the front of the Krusty Krab. It usually has an antenna on top, an iconic part of the place. But in the episode where SpongeBob develops a fear of heights, the antenna just disappears. Did they send it out for repairs that exact day, or did the animators simply forget it? If you're enjoying this error hunt, leave a like so SpongeBob can eat another Krabby Patty. In the band episode, when Squidward tries to gather the neighbors to play together, we see Sandy among the musicians. The strange thing is her instrument, a saxophone. How is she blowing into it if she needs a helmet full of air to breathe? An underwater saxophone? Or was she just lip-syncing to avoid ruining the show? And since we're talking about Sandy's helmet, there's a strange scene in that same episode. There's a fish behind her, but only his eyes are visible through the glass. The rest of his body vanishes, as if the helmet had selective visibility. An artistic slip that gives off a paranormal vibe.
¿Y la comida gratis? Muy bien, tratan de repetir después de mí.
Later on, when the band goes out of control, we see instruments flying around like weapons. SpongeBob isn't part of the fight, but he's holding an arm. Yes, an arm. Whose arm? No one knows. We just hope it's from a dummy and not from a real person. Do you remember the Magic Conch episode? When SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward get lost in the kelp forest, Squidward asks if he can eat one of his own tentacles, and here comes the mistake. The tentacle turns yellow like SpongeBob. Was he hallucinating from hunger, imagining it was SpongeBob to feel less alone? In another episode, SpongeBob and Patrick try to scare Sandy by dressing up as ghosts. For that, they use helmets to breathe and cover themselves with sheets. But when they do, the helmets magically disappear. Are they hiding them under the fabric, or did the animators forget to draw them? And we can't forget the Strangler. He chases SpongeBob all the way to his house, and SpongeBob can't get in because he can't find the key. Until he remembers there's one under the doormat. But there wasn't a doormat before. It appears out of nowhere. A magical doormat or a blatant mistake. Harold, that blue fish with a white shirt and red shorts, also suffers from spontaneous clothing changes. In one scene, SpongeBob gives him a burger and Harold isn't wearing a shirt. In the next cut, he's suddenly dressed again. Either he changed at the speed of light, or it was another continuity error. And we're getting to the craziest mistakes. Do you remember Squilliam Fancyson, Squidward's rival? He has a unique and unmistakable eyebrow. But in one scene where he shows his portraits, in one of them, he doesn't have an eyebrow. Squilliam without his signature facial feature. Unacceptable. The Krusty Krab kitchen also has its secrets. In one shot, the grill is on the right. Seconds later, it appears on the left. Mobile furniture or visual error. In the episode where Squidward works as a bus driver, there's a very strange scene. SpongeBob sits on Squidward's head and his neck comes out of place. It literally looks like a cheap magic trick. And now, one of the most obvious mistakes. When SpongeBob decides to spy on Patrick to discover his secret, he sneaks around the neighborhood. But something key is missing. Squidward's house, which is always between SpongeBob's and Patrick's, doesn't appear, as if it had gone on vacation. A traveling house? Have you ever wondered if SpongeBob wears false eyelashes? Sounds crazy, but wait until you see this. In the episode Baby Squidward from Season 9, something very curious happens. It all starts when Squidward hits his head so hard that he begins to behave like a baby, albeit with a huge head. Well, maybe that's not so strange. All babies have big heads, right? But the really strange thing happens when SpongeBob is holding him in his arms and listening carefully to the doctor. In that scene, if you look closely, the 3 big eyelashes that SpongeBob always has completely disappear for a few seconds. Just like that, without explanation. So you have to wonder, were they false eyelashes that fell off? Is SpongeBob more artificial than we thought? Who knows? But definitely, the animators left us with more questions than answers. To wrap up, one of the funniest mistakes. In the episode where a cosmic ray transforms Sandy into her wild version, she becomes a realistic and muscular squirrel. Everything's great, except for one detail. Her old cartoon tail is still there. For a moment, she has 2 tails, an absurd mutation that completely breaks underwater logic. And if that wasn't enough, in the wrestling fight episode, Patrick takes off SpongeBob's shoe to lick his foot, but the foot that's exposed is the left one, even though he took off the right shoe. Does SpongeBob have 2 left feet? Or is he so flexible that he bent like a contortionist? Either way, these mistakes make us love the craziness of Bikini Bottom even more. Which one was the weirdest for you? If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any new content. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.